I stood in my empty bedroom staring at my phone. The text message glowed on the screen. "I'm done. I filed for divorce. The money's gone. Good luck." 15 years of marriage ended in 22 words. Most women would have fallen apart right there, but I smiled. Because Curtis had no idea I'd been 3 steps ahead of him for the past 6 months. Before we continue, please drop a comment below, as I'd love to hear your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel to help us hit that big 1,000 subscriber milestone. Let me take you back to where this really started. 6 months before that text message. 6 months before my husband thought he'd destroyed my life. It was a Tuesday evening in March. I remember because Tuesdays were always slow at my boutique. I'd come home early, around 5 o'clock, hoping to surprise Curtis with his favorite meal, smothered pork chops, the kind my grandmother taught me to make. The kind that used to make him wrap his arms around me from behind while I stood at the stove. I pushed open our front door in our Cascade Heights neighborhood. Our home was my pride and joy. I'd decorated every inch myself: cream walls, African art we'd collected on our anniversary trip to Ghana, family photos everywhere. This was supposed to be our forever home. The house was quiet. Too quiet. Curtis's car was in the driveway. He should have been home. I set my purse down on the kitchen counter. That's when I heard it. His voice, coming from his home office down the hall. He was on the phone. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, not at first, but something in his tone made me freeze. It was soft, gentle. The way he used to talk to me when we first started dating. "I can't wait either, baby," he said. "Just a few more months. I promise." My stomach dropped. "I know it's hard," he continued, "but I'm handling it. She won't see it coming. I'm moving money around right now. By the time she figures it out, we'll be gone." I pressed my back against the hallway wall. My heart was pounding so hard I thought he might hear it. 20 feet away. That's how close I was to the man I'd built my entire adult life with. And he was plotting to destroy me. "Amber, listen to me," Curtis said. His voice got even softer. "I've got the prenup handled. My lawyer says there's ways around it. And the business? That's in both our names on paper, but I've been married to her long enough. I'll get my cut." He was wrong. Dead wrong. But I wasn't about to tell him that. I backed away slowly. Carefully. I made it to the kitchen. My hands were shaking, but my mind was crystal clear. I'd spent 15 years building Thompson's boutique from nothing. I'd started in a tiny shop on Old National Highway. Now I had 3 locations across Atlanta. I employed 22 Black women, single mothers, college students, women who needed a chance. Curtis thought he could take that from me. He thought I was stupid. I pulled out my phone. My first call was to Shanice, my best friend since Spelman. She answered on the second ring. "Girl, what's wrong?" she said immediately. Shanice always knew. "I need you to come over tomorrow," I said quietly. "Early, before Curtis leaves for work. And don't tell anyone, not yet." "Gabby, you're scaring me." "I'm fine," I said. "I promise. I just need you." My second call was to Reggie Monroe, my attorney, the same man who'd drawn up my prenuptial agreement 15 years ago. Curtis had fought me on that prenup, said it meant I didn't trust him, said it wasn't romantic. I'd held firm, and now I knew why God had put that strength in my spirit. "Reggie," I said when he answered, "I need to see you first thing tomorrow morning. It's urgent, and I need you to pull my prenuptial agreement. Every page, every clause." "What's going on, Gabrielle?" "I'll explain tomorrow. Just pull the file." I heard Curtis's office door open. I hung up fast, wiped my eyes even though I hadn't cried, pasted on a smile. He walked into the kitchen, 6'2", still handsome at 45. The same man I'd met at a Jack and Jill fundraiser back in 2008. The same man who'd promised me forever in front of 300 people at Greater Travelers Rest Baptist Church. "Hey, baby, he said. He kissed my cheek, like nothing was wrong. You're home early? Slow day at the store? I said. My voice sounded normal, steady. I was thinking about making smothered pork chops. His face lit up. For real? You're the best, Gabby. I smiled at him, turned to the refrigerator, started pulling out ingredients. Inside, I was already planning his downfall. The next morning, I sat in Reggie's office at 8:30. Shanice sat next to me. She'd come straight from her shift at Grady Hospital, still wearing her scrubs. Her hand squeezed mine. Reggie spread the prenuptial agreement across his massive oak desk. He was a big man, former linebacker at Morehouse. Now he wore expensive suits and won cases. Talk to me, he said. I told him everything. Every word I'd heard Curtis say. Every suspicion I'd had for months before that. The late nights at work, the new cologne, the way he'd started going to the gym 5 times a week when he used to go twice. He mentioned his lawyer said there were ways around the prenup, I said. Is that true? Reggie leaned back in his chair. A slow smile spread across his face. Gabrielle, do you remember what we put in this agreement? The fidelity clause, I said. Not just any fidelity clause, Reggie said. He tapped the document. If either party commits adultery during the marriage, they forfeit any claim to marital assets. They leave with only what they brought into the marriage and their personal belongings. Nothing else. But he said the business. Thompson's boutique is solely owned by you, Reggie interrupted. We made sure of that. You started it 2 years before you married Curtis. Every loan is in your name. Every asset is yours. The only reason his name appears anywhere is because you added him as an authorized person on some accounts. That's not ownership. That's permission. Permission you can revoke. Shanice sucked in her breath. So if Gabby can prove he cheated, he gets nothing, Reggie finished. Not a dime from the business. Not a dime from their house, which Gabrielle bought before the marriage. He'd be entitled to half of their joint savings and his own retirement account. That's it. But that wasn't even the best part. There's more, Reggie said. This prenup has a liquidated damages clause. If Curtis commits adultery and tries to hide or move marital assets before the divorce, he owes you $200,000, plus attorney's fees. I sat back in my chair. My mind was racing. So, if I can prove he's cheating, I said slowly, and if I can prove he's moving our money, you don't just walk away clean, Reggie said. You walk away with everything, and he owes you a check. Shanice let out a low whistle. Girl, you were really protecting yourself 15 years ago. My grandmother didn't raise no fool, I said. Here's what we need, Reggie said. He pulled out a legal pad, started writing. Evidence of the affair, photos, messages, witnesses if possible, evidence of asset movement, bank statements, transfer records, any communication where he discusses moving money. Can you get these things without him knowing? I thought about Curtis's home office, his laptop, his phone that he'd started keeping locked. I can try, I said. Don't try, Reggie said. His voice was firm. Do. And Gabrielle? Don't confront him. Don't let him know you know. Let him think he's winning. Let him move that money. Let him file for divorce. The bigger the mess he makes, the easier this is for us. Over the next 4 months, I became someone I didn't recognize. I smiled at my husband over breakfast, kissed him goodbye every morning, made love to him when he wanted, all while documenting everything. I hired a private investigator, a woman named Vanessa who'd helped Shanice's cousin catch her cheating husband. Vanessa was expensive, but she was worth every penny. She followed Curtis to a condo in Buckhead, took photos of him with Amber, a 27-year-old sales rep from his company. Pretty girl, young, everything I used to be before life and stress and building a business added lines to my face. The photos were clear. Curtis and Amber holding hands, kissing in his car, entering the condo together at lunch, not leaving for 2 hours. I stared at those photos in my boutique office, Tamara, my store manager, knocked softly. "You okay, boss?" she asked. "I will be," I said. I also tracked our money. Curtis thought he was slick. He'd been moving $5,000 a month from our joint savings into an account I didn't have access to. He'd been doing it for 8 months. $40,000. Gone. But I had the bank statements. I had the transfer records. Isaiah, my accountant, had flagged every suspicious transaction. "He's setting up a nest egg," Isaiah told me, "probably planning to claim he never moved it, or that it was for business purposes." "Can we prove it wasn't?" I asked. "Every transfer happened within 24 hours of him communicating with someone named AP in his email," Isaiah said. He showed me the timeline he'd created. "AP is Amber Price, right?" "Right," I said. "Then yes, we can prove it." I went home that night and cooked Curtis his favorite dessert, peach cobbler, my grandmother's recipe. He ate 2 servings, told me I was the best wife a man could ask for. I smiled, cleaned the kitchen, went to bed next to him, and planned my next move. Then, one Friday in late August, Curtis came home looking nervous. He barely touched his dinner, kept checking his phone. "You okay?" I asked. "Fine," he said. "Just work stress." That Sunday, while he was at the gym, I checked his laptop. He'd left it open, careless. There was an email from his lawyer. The subject line read, "Divorce filing, ready to submit." My hands didn't shake this time. I took screenshots, sent them to my encrypted email, closed the laptop. Curtis filed for divorce the next Tuesday. September 3rd. He did it by text message, like I was nothing, like our 15 years together could be erased with a few taps on his phone. "I'm done. I filed for divorce. The money's gone. Good luck." I read that message 3 times. Then I called Reggie. "He just pulled the trigger," I said. "Good," Reggie said. I could hear the smile in his voice. "Now we pull ours." Curtis thought he'd destroyed me with that text message. He thought I'd be crying, begging, broken. Instead, I forwarded his text to Reggie with 3 words. "Game on, counselor." Within 2 hours, Curtis's world started crumbling. And he didn't even know it yet. The first thing Reggie did was file an emergency motion. We requested full financial disclosure. We demanded an accounting of every dollar Curtis had moved. We attached bank statements showing the $40,000 he'd transferred. We attached the private investigator's photos, all 23 of them. Curtis and Amber holding hands, Curtis and Amber kissing, Curtis and Amber entering that Buckhead condo. The second thing Reggie did was send Curtis's lawyer a copy of our prenuptial agreement, with the fidelity clause highlighted in bright yellow, and a simple note: "Your client is in breach. Prepare accordingly." I didn't hear from Curtis for 3 days. Radio silence. He'd moved out the same day he sent that text, packed his clothes while I was at the boutique, took his golf clubs, his shoes, his cologne collection, left his key on the kitchen counter. Fine by me. I changed the locks that afternoon. On day 4, my phone rang, Curtis's number. I let it go to voicemail. Listened to his message on speaker while Shanice and I sat in my living room drinking wine. "Gabby, we need to talk," his voice said. He sounded stressed, tight. "My lawyer showed me some papers, some allegations. Baby, this is all a misunderstanding. We can work this out. Call me back." Shanice nearly spit out her wine. "Baby? He's calling you baby?" "Desperation is a terrible perfume," I said. I deleted the message. He called 6 more times that week. I never answered. Reggie handled everything. Meanwhile, I got to work on the second phase of my plan, securing my business completely. Isaiah and I sat down with every document related to Thompson's boutique, every contract, every loan, every lease. Curtis's name appeared in exactly 3 places: as an emergency contact on one lease, as an authorized user on one business credit card, as a listed spouse on my business insurance. We removed him from all three within 48 hours. The business is completely protected, Isaiah told me. He has no claim, no access, nothing. What about the joint account? I asked. Isaiah smiled. He emptied it, right? Took the 40,000? Every penny. Good. That's evidence of asset dissipation. The court will make him account for every dollar. And if he can't show it went to legitimate marital expenses, he has to put it back, I finished. Plus penalties, Isaiah said. Plus, he still owes you the $200,000 from the liquidated damages clause. But Curtis still had no idea what was really coming. 2 weeks after he filed for divorce, Curtis showed up at my boutique. It was a Saturday afternoon, my busiest day. The store was packed with customers, black women shopping for everything from church dresses to business suits. This was my sanctuary, my legacy, and he had the nerve to walk through my door. Tamara saw him first. She came to find me in the back office. "Boss, your soon-to-be ex-husband is out front," she said. "Want me to call security?" I stood up, smoothed down my dress. A custom piece I'd designed myself. Royal blue. Perfect fit. I looked good, and I knew it. "No," I said. "I'll handle this." Curtis stood near the register. He looked thinner, stressed. His usual confident swagger was gone. Several customers were staring at him. News traveled fast in Atlanta's black community. People knew. They always knew. "Gabrielle," he said when he saw me. "Can we talk? In private?" "My office is in the back," I said coolly. "Follow me." We walked past racks of clothes, past customers who definitely recognized him, past Tamara, who gave me a look that said, "I'll be listening at the door if you need me." I closed my office door behind us. Didn't offer him a seat. "What do you want, Curtis?" "I want to fix this," he said. He ran his hand over his face. "Gabby, my lawyer says..." "He says the prenup is going to be a problem." "It should be," I said. "You cheated on me. You stole from our joint account. You filed for divorce via text message. What exactly did you think was going to happen?" "I didn't steal anything," he said quickly. "That money was mine too. We both put into that account." "And you took it all out without telling me," I said. "That's called dissipation of marital assets. Reggie explained it to me real clearly." Curtis's jaw tightened. "You've been planning this. You knew. How long have you known?" "Long enough," I said. "So you just played me? Let me think I was getting away with it?" I leaned back against my desk, crossed my arms. "You were planning to leave me broke and homeless. Did you really think I was going to make it easy for you?" He stared at me, like he was seeing me for the first time. "I never wanted to hurt you." "You just wanted my money," I said. "And that girl. What's her name again? Amber?" His face flushed, caught. "Does she know you're broke now?" I asked. "Does she know that prenup means you're leaving this marriage with nothing but your clothes and your car? Does she know you owe me $200,000? "That clause is garbage," Curtis said. His voice rose. "No judge is going to enforce that." "Reggie seems to think differently," I said. "But I guess we'll see in court." Curtis stepped closer. For a second I thought he might try to intimidate me, but I didn't move, didn't flinch. "I spent 15 years helping you build this business," he said. "You spent 15 years watching me build this business," I corrected. "I started Thompson's before I even met you. Every loan is in my name. Every decision was mine. You showed up to events and smiled for photos. That's not building. That's accessorizing." "I was your husband." "I supported you." "And I supported you," I said. "I cooked your meals, washed your clothes, went to your company dinners, smiled when your colleagues made jokes about you being married to a businesswoman. I did my part. You just got greedy." "Gabby, get out of my store," I said quietly. and don't come back." He left. Every customer in that boutique watched him go. The second the door closed behind him, applause broke out. Literal applause. An older woman I'd never met came up to me. She had to be in her 70s, looked like somebody's grandmother. "Baby, I don't know you," she said. "But I've been where you are. You stand strong. You hear me? You stand strong, and you take everything that's yours." Tears pricked my eyes, but I didn't let them fall. "Yes, ma'am," I said. "I will." That night, Shanice came over. We sat on my back porch. The same porch where Curtis and I used to drink coffee on Sunday mornings, planning our future, our children that never came, our dreams that died somewhere along the way. "You good?" Shanice asked. "I'm better than good," I said. "I'm free." My phone buzzed. A text from Reggie. "Curtis's lawyer just called. They want to negotiate. They know they're screwed." I showed Shanice the message. She laughed so hard she nearly fell out of her chair. "What are you going to do?" she asked. "I'm going to let him sweat," I said. "Let him realize exactly what he threw away." What happened next, he never saw coming. 3 days later, I got a call from Nicole, my younger sister. She was breathing hard, excited. "Gabby, turn on Channel 2 News," she said. "Right now." I grabbed my remote, flipped to the local news station. And there it was. A story about Atlanta's top Black-owned businesses, and Thompson's boutique was featured, front and center. The reporter stood in front of my flagship location, talking about my success, my commitment to hiring Black women, my expansion plans. "Gabrielle Thompson has built an empire," the reporter said. 3 locations, 22 employees, and she's just getting started. The segment showed footage from inside my stores, my customers shopping, my employees helping clients. Everything I'd built, everything Curtis thought he could take from me. My phone started ringing immediately. Congratulations from business associates, from friends, from customers, from women I'd never met who'd seen the segment and wanted to support my stores. But the best call came from my mother. "Baby, I just saw you on TV," she said. Her voice was thick with pride. "Your grandmother would be so proud. And Curtis? Baby, Curtis is somewhere sick right now. You know he saw it." She was right. Curtis had definitely seen it, because an hour later I got a text from him. "Congratulations on the news coverage. You deserve it." I didn't respond, but Amber did respond to something. And that's when everything got really interesting. Tamara called me the next morning. "Boss, you need to hear this. Remember that girl Chelsea who works at the Mac counter at Lenox?" "Yeah?" "She just texted me. She saw Amber, Curtis's girlfriend. Amber was in the mall buying a bunch of expensive bags and shoes. Chelsea heard her on the phone with somebody, and Amber was crying, said Curtis lied to her, said he promised her he had money. But now he's broke and trying to move in with her." I sat up straight. "Moving in with her?" That's what Chelsea said, and apparently Amber told whoever she was talking to that she's done. She didn't sign up to take care of a broke man going through a divorce. I started laughing. I couldn't help it. Curtis had blown up his marriage for a girl who only wanted him for his money. Money he didn't actually have. Money he'd stolen from our joint account. Money he was going to have to pay back. With interest. The universe had jokes, but I wasn't done yet, not even close. That weekend, I attended service at Greater Travelers Rest Baptist Church, the same church where Curtis and I got married. I'd stopped going after the separation. Couldn't face the questions, the pity, the whispers. But now, I walked in that church with my head high, wore my best dress, sat in the 3rd row. Pastor Williams preached about restoration, about God turning your mess into your message, about how your haters become your footstools. After service, Dorothy Washington approached me, Curtis's mother. I tensed, prepared for confrontation. But Dorothy surprised me. "Gabrielle," she said softly, "can we talk?" We walked outside, away from the crowd. Dorothy was 68, a elegant woman who'd always treated me kindly. I genuinely loved her. "I heard what Curtis did," she said. "Earl and I both heard. And baby, I am so sorry." "You don't have to apologize for him," I said. "I know I don't," Dorothy said. "But I raised him better than that. And I need you to know, whatever happens in that courtroom, you do what you need to do. You protect yourself. I love my son, but he's wrong. And he needs to face consequences." Tears filled my eyes then. Real tears. "Thank you," I whispered. Dorothy hugged me tight. "You were always the best thing that happened to him. He just got too stupid to see it." That afternoon, Curtis's lawyer called Reggie. They wanted to settle. They'd pay back the $40,000. They'd agree to the prenup terms. Curtis would walk away with nothing but his personal belongings and his retirement account. But they wouldn't pay the $200,000 in liquidated damages. Reggie called me with the offer. "What do you think?" he asked. I thought about Curtis, about his arrogance, his betrayal, his text message that tried to destroy me. "No," I said. "We go to court. I want everything that prenup says I'm owed, every dollar." "That's my girl," Reggie said. 2 weeks later, I walked into Fulton County Courthouse wearing a cream suit, hair laid, makeup perfect, ready for war. Curtis sat at the defendant's table with his lawyer. He looked defeated already. Amber wasn't there. Of course she wasn't. She'd dumped him 2 days after the news coverage aired, moved on to some investment banker she met at a club. The hearing lasted 4 hours. Reggie presented every piece of evidence. The photos, the bank statements, the emails. Curtis's lawyer tried to fight, tried to claim the prenup was unconscionable, tried to argue Curtis deserved half of my business. Judge Patricia Morrison was a black woman in her 60s. She'd been on the bench for 20 years. She listened to everything, reviewed every document. Then she made her ruling. Curtis was in breach of the prenuptial agreement due to adultery. He was guilty of dissipating marital assets. The prenup was valid and enforceable. Curtis would receive nothing from Thompson's boutique, nothing from our house, nothing from our joint savings except his half minus the $40,000 he'd already taken. And he owed me $200,000 in liquidated damages, payable within 90 days. Curtis's face went gray. His lawyer objected. The judge overruled him. "Mr. Washington," Judge Morrison said, looking directly at Curtis, "you attempted to defraud your wife. You stole marital funds. You violated a contract you willingly signed. These are the consequences of your choices. This court is adjourned." I walked out of that courthouse with Reggie, Shanice, and Nicole by my side. The late October sun was shining. The air was crisp. Perfect. "You did it," Shanice said, squeezing my hand. "We did it," I corrected. But as we stood on those courthouse steps, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to pick up. "Hello? Ms. Thompson?" A woman's voice. Professional. "This is Andrea Cole from Essence Magazine. We're doing a feature on successful Black women entrepreneurs who've overcome adversity. Your story has been brought to our attention. We'd love to interview you for our February issue." I looked at Shanice, at Nicole, at Reggie. They were all watching me, curious. "Yes," I said into the phone. "I'd be honored." When I hung up, they all started talking at once, but I barely heard them, because across the street, I saw Curtis getting into his car, alone, defeated, broken, and for the first time in 6 months, I felt something I didn't expect. Not satisfaction, not revenge, but pity. He'd thrown away everything real for something fake, and now he had nothing. But that wasn't the end of the story, not even close. Because what I discovered 2 weeks later changed everything I thought I knew about Curtis's betrayal. And it made me realize his punishment was just beginning. The Essence magazine interview happened on a cold November morning. The journalist, Andrea Cole, met me at my flagship boutique. She was sharp, professional, asked questions that made me think. "What would you say to other women facing betrayal?" she asked. "Protect yourself first," I said. "Love is beautiful, but paperwork is forever. Get that prenup. Keep your own accounts. Build something that's yours." Andrea smiled, scribbled notes. "Your ex-husband must regret what he did." "I imagine he does," I said. What I didn't tell Andrea was that I'd been having nightmares, dreams where I was the villain, where Curtis's face haunted me, where I wondered if I'd gone too far. I pushed those thoughts away, focused on work, on expansion, on building my empire. Thompson's boutique was thriving. The news coverage brought in new customers daily. Black women from all over Georgia drove to Atlanta just to shop at my stores. They'd take photos, post on social media, tag me in their pictures wearing my designs. "You're doing it, boss," Tamara said one afternoon. "You're really doing it." But something felt off. Empty. Like I'd won the battle but lost something I couldn't name. 2 weeks after the court hearing, I was working late at my office, going over expansion plans for a 4th location, maybe in Charlotte or Nashville. The sky was the limit now. My phone rang. Dorothy Washington's number. "Hello?" I answered. "Gabrielle." Dorothy's voice was shaking. "Baby, I need to tell you something. Something about Curtis." My stomach tightened. "What happened? Is he okay?" "He's alive," Dorothy said. "But he's not okay. None of us are. Can you come over? Please?" I shouldn't have gone. Curtis wasn't my problem anymore. But Dorothy had been kind to me, and something in her voice scared me. I drove to the Washington family home in southwest Atlanta, the same house where I'd spent countless Sunday dinners, where Dorothy had taught me her secret mac and cheese recipe, where Earl and I used to watch football while Curtis complained we were too loud. Dorothy answered the door. She looked older, tired. She hugged me tight. "Thank you for coming," she whispered. Curtis sat in the living room. He looked terrible, lost at least 20 pounds, eyes hollow. This wasn't the confident man I'd married. This was a shell. "Gabby," he said when he saw me. "I didn't know Mama called you." "I asked her to," Dorothy said. She sat down heavily. "Because we need help, and you're the only person who might understand." "Understand what?" I asked. I stayed standing, arms crossed, guarded. Earl spoke from his recliner. Curtis's father rarely said much, but when he did, people listened. "That girl," Earl said. "Amber. She's pregnant." The words hit me like a truck. "She claims it's Curtis's baby," Dorothy continued. "She showed up here 3 days ago, demanding money, said Curtis promised to take care of her and the baby, said if he doesn't pay, she'll take him to court for child support." I looked at Curtis. "Is it yours?" "I don't know," he said quietly. "Maybe, probably. The timing works." "So what does this have to do with me?" I asked, but I already knew. "The $200,000, Dorothy said. "Curtis doesn't have it. He lost his job 2 weeks ago. The company found out about the affair, said it violated their ethics policy. He's been living here with us, applying for jobs, but nobody's hiring. And when the 90 days are up, when that payment is due, he'll have to file for bankruptcy. And if he files for bankruptcy, he can't pay child support. That baby will grow up with nothing." The room went silent. Outside, I could hear children playing, life continuing, normal and simple. "You want me to forgive the debt," I said. "I'm asking you to consider it," Dorothy said. Her eyes filled with tears. "Not for Curtis. For an innocent child who didn't ask to be born into this mess." I felt something crack inside my chest. This wasn't supposed to happen. Curtis was supposed to suffer, learn his lesson, face consequences. but a baby? An innocent life caught in the crossfire of our war? Gabby, I know I don't deserve anything from you, Curtis said. His voice broke. I know what I did was unforgivable. I destroyed our marriage. I stole from you. I lied to you for months. But this baby didn't do anything wrong. That baby is why you betrayed me, I said. My voice was ice. You made that choice. You created this situation. I know, Curtis said. And I'll spend the rest of my life regretting it. But please, don't let my mistakes punish a child. I looked around that living room. At Dorothy, who'd always treated me like a daughter. At Earl, who'd walked me down the aisle when my own father was too sick to do it. At Curtis, broken and begging. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. I left without giving them an answer. Drove home in silence. Sat in my empty house. My beautiful, paid-off, Curtis-free house. And I cried. Real tears this time. Because I realized something horrible. Winning had cost me more than I'd planned to pay. The next week, the Essence magazine feature went live. My face was on the cover. Gabrielle Thompson, From Betrayal to Empire. The article was beautiful, inspiring. Women across the country reached out to me, shared their stories, thanked me for being strong. But I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, couldn't shake the image of Curtis's face, or Dorothy's tears, or that unborn baby who would pay for sins it didn't commit. Shanice came over on a Friday night, found me sitting in the dark. Talk to me, she said. I told her everything. About the baby, about Dorothy's request, about the choice I had to make. What do you think I should do? I asked. Shanice was quiet for a long time. I think you need to decide what kind of woman you want to be, not what kind of woman Curtis made you become. That night, I made my decision. I called Reggie the next morning. I want to modify the payment plan, I said. Modify how? Reggie asked. He sounded confused. We'd won. Why would I modify anything? Curtis pays me $50,000 now, I said. He can take a loan, borrow from his parents, whatever. The remaining $150,000 gets structured as a 20-year payment plan. $750 a month. No interest. He pays until it's done. Gabrielle, that's extremely generous. After what he did? I know what he did, I interrupted. But there's a baby coming. A baby who needs a father who can work, who can provide. If I bankrupt Curtis completely, I'm not hurting him. I'm hurting that child. Are you sure about this? No, I said honestly. But I'm doing it anyway. Reggie drew up the new agreement. Curtis signed it 2 days later. He cried when he signed. Actual tears. Thank you, he whispered. Gabby, thank you. Don't thank me, I said. This isn't forgiveness. This is me choosing not to destroy an innocent life because of your mistakes. You still pay every dollar. You still live with what you did. But that baby gets a chance. Curtis nodded. I'll pay every month, I promise. You better, I said. Because if you miss even one payment, the full amount becomes due immediately. And then I will bankrupt you. I walked out of that lawyer's office feeling strange. Not victorious, not defeated. Somewhere in between. 3 months later, Amber had the baby, a little girl. Curtis sent me a photo via text. I don't know why. Maybe to show me what I'd helped save. Maybe to torture me with what could have been ours. I looked at that baby's face. She had Curtis's eyes, and I felt nothing but sadness. For what I'd lost. For what Curtis threw away. For the family we'd never have. But Thompson's boutique kept growing. By February, I'd opened that 4th location in Charlotte. By April, I was being featured in Black Enterprise. By June, I'd hired 35 employees across 4 stores. My business was booming. My bank account was healthy. My life looked perfect from the outside. But every month, When Curtis's $750 payment hit my account, I felt something I didn't expect. Not satisfaction, not revenge, grief. Because I realized I'd won everything I wanted and lost everything I needed. Dorothy still called me sometimes, told me about the baby, about Curtis's new job as an insurance salesman, about how he was working 2 jobs to make his payments and support his daughter. "He asks about you," she said once. "Wonders how you're doing." "Tell him I'm fine," I said. And I was fine. By every measure that mattered to the world, I was winning. But late at night, in my big house, in my expensive bed, I wondered if winning was supposed to feel this lonely. I'd gotten my revenge, secured my future, built my empire. Curtis paid his debt every single month, never missed, never late. But the cost of my victory was higher than I'd calculated. I'd lost my ability to trust, my desire for partnership, my dreams of family. I'd won the war. But I couldn't shake the feeling that we'd both lost something we could never get back. The prenup protected my assets, the court protected my rights, my business protected my future, but nothing protected my heart from the truth I finally had to face. Some battles you win by walking away from the battlefield entirely, and some victories are just prettier versions of defeat. I still run Thompson's boutique, still employ Black women, still build my legacy. Curtis still sends his payments. His daughter is 3 now. Beautiful, smart, innocent. And I'm still here, successful, independent, free, but alone. Maybe that's the real price of revenge. You get everything you demanded. And realize too late that what you really needed was something you can never get back. Living well might be the best revenge. But sometimes living well just means living with the choices you made, the good ones and the bad ones, the fair ones and the ruthless ones, and learning that winning isn't always the same thing as healing. Thanks for listening to this story. If it touched your heart, please leave a like and subscribe. Have you experienced something similar? Share your story in the comments below.